HJT is the Hank and Jordan and Tensor Corporation, which was built out of the shambles of the Hank and Jordan Cooper and Shipwrights Guild. They diversified greatly since, building a trade empire, a system of mages for hire called the Fairies, and a successful newspaper, the HJT Gazette. My name is Cora Bierenheider. I'm the creator of Aqualon, and this is Let Me Read You, the series where I read short stories and tales from Aqualon to you. In the HJT Gazette, a curious column was published on an irregular basis in the 1580s GE, The Traveller's Guide to Aqualon by Thaddeus Fletcher. Learn more about the interesting and more exotic places on Aqualon and how to get where and live to tell the tale. Let me read you Column 1 of The Traveller's Guide to Aqualon. Welcome, esteemed reader, to The Traveller's Guide to Aqualon. First things first, my name is Thaddeus Fletcher, and if you are from the high north, a little word of advice. Our side won the war, so the north is at the bottom of the map. Remember that when I talk about up and down. It's been 50 days since I left the comfort of my hometown of Manastrat, and the Hank and Jordan and Tensor Corporation has been so kind as to sponsor part of my trip. I am sending regular letters to my publisher at the HJT Gazette, and you, esteemed reader, will be able to reap the fruits of my in-depth field research. So, ever had an atlas in your hands? No? Well, this is the situation. We got lots of land in the northern hemisphere, lots of water in the southern hemisphere. The former is called the Great Land and the High North, and the latter the Ocean Belt and the Spiral Sea. We got some big island chains in the ocean belt, so it's not all wet. 17 really big ones in the Corsic Ocean to the west and a couple more in the east. And they got some huge lakes and rivers in the Great Land too, so we're all nice and balanced. In the middle, smack in between, of course, lies that wretched iron belt, almost 100 miles of pure iron, where it hasn't rusted at least. A real bitch to cross, but don't you worry, man finds a way. In fact, here are my first valuable travel tips. If you wish to cross the Iron Belt to reach the Great Land, there are 3 great ports you can steer to. Nanko above the Yamato Kingdom, Blacksteel above the Red Sands, and Isenwill by Swelbrand. Now, if you head over to Isenwill, I strongly suggest you curb the whole winning the war stick I gave you in the beginning. The Swelbrand Nords don't take too kindly to that kind of talk. But hey, since they joined the Axis of Steel with Altona and the fiefdoms of Ravensbrück, they've become a lot more amenable to travelers and commerce, so don't worry about it. Added bonus with this port, you got actual land around it. Do some shopping, get some souvenirs, and spend the night in a room without an iron floor. Additionally, you can cross the Iron Belt pretty quickly here. From rusty shore to rusty shore, the crazy Altona technocrats built this thing they call a railway, where this huge metal vehicle tries to and fro, getting you across lickety-split. If you're heading for the Middlelands, though, you might not want to take the long way around via Altona or the Yamato Kingdom. So what do? You head to Blacksteel. Now, this port is pretty big, and they have these impressive installations built into the side of the rusty shore for mooring ships and getting people onto the belt. You can get some exotic goods here, too, if you don't mind hitting the shadier corners. But be careful, or you might lose your purse. They don't have any mass transit across the Iron Belt here, but the whole section there is Steel Baron territory. For some coin, their underlings are usually good for taking you across in their magnet rollers. These smaller vehicles float a few inches above the Iron Belt and can reach impressive speeds. The Borealians sold them to the Steel Barons apparently, and supply the carbonic power cells they use for fuel. Smart deal if you ask me. Lastly, if the Yamato Kingdom is your first stop, well, Nanko it is. The name means South Steel, I am told, and it is quite rustic. Everything is made out of bamboo scaffolding, and you can usually see several impressive barks moored to the piers here, courtesy of the West Yamato Trading Company. Getting passage on one of their ships to Nanko is also a solid option if you are having trouble finding your way to one of the 3 ports. Interestingly, the Yamato folk have built this huge waterway all the way across the Iron Belt. Almost 100 miles of artificial river, you might call it, a comfortable way to make it across to the Great Land. Well, while the Yamato Kingdom is a beautiful place to visit, my first stop will be the Middle Lands. I want to head to Aquarius, get a good look at that beautiful spire of Ran everyone keeps talking about. So black steel it is. I'm on an HJT cog right now, writing this column for my publisher. The captain will hand it over when he returns to Granshoof, and you'll be able to read more in a couple of issues. My name is Thaddeus Fletcher, and I wish you happy trails. I hope you enjoyed this little story. My name is Cory Bierenheide, and this was Let Me Read You. You can find over 500,000 words worth of lore articles, short stories, book chapters, maps and more on the Aqualon World Anvil page linked below. If you enjoy this show and want to support it, please consider sharing this video and don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. I always enjoy reading comments, and if you have suggestions or requests, I'm happy to listen to them and see what I can do. Aqualon is also on Patreon, in case you want to take your support to the next level. For as little as $1 a month, you can get access to new lore articles and short stories before anyone else, and read exclusive secrets embedded in lore articles all over Aqualon. Check out the Aqualon Patreon page below and see a list of awesome rewards available to backers, or just to browse public posts where I showcase new articles and more. We also have a growing Discord server in case you would like to chat with me and other Aqualon fans, as well as other creatives.